Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brassad,
Here.
Commissioner Reinert,
Here.
Commissioner Schulte,
Here.
Commissioner Look, Commissioner Gamache,
Here.
Commissioner Jepson,
Here.
Commissioner Meisner.
Here.
Thank you for that. All here, present, and accounted for. We'll move on to item 4, which is tax claims and abatements. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Brassad.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Schulte. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
And that is approved unanimously. We'll move on to item 5, which is consider accepting the regular claims paid over $500 and purchase card claims paid for the period ending July 28th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Moved by Commissioner Schulte.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Meisner, we'll go with. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look, Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
And that also passes unanimously. We'll move on to approval of minutes for July 27th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Meisner.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Brassad. Any additions, subtractions, or changes? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Those meeting minutes are approved and adopted. Moving on to item 7, there are no chair's remarks for today, and we'll get right into the committee reports on item 8, which is the Management Committee report. And there is just one note on there that there is a chair report indicated. We will be pulling that from the agenda here this morning. So just the Management Committee report. Have a couple of action items. The first is the Management Committee recommends adopting Resolution 2023-M5, accepting a donation to the Anoka County Attorney's Office. Is there an offer of the resolution?
I'll offer the resolution.
Resolution's been offered by Commissioner Brassad. Any discussion? Hearing none. I don't see this as a roll call vote, but let's do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Item 2 is the Management Committee recommends adopting Resolution 2023-M6, a resolution authorizing the acceptance of a grant from the Minnesota Department of Commerce in the amount of $260,300.40 for an auto theft prosecutor and related training expenses. Contract number C0010181, you'll see that attached there. We have had an uptick in vehicle-related incidents, unfortunately. So these are much-needed grant dollars, and it can be put to good use. Is there an offer of this resolution?
I'll offer the resolution.
Resolution's been offered by Commissioner Schulte. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye. And that passes unanimously. That concludes the Management Committee report. Again, no chair report on that. We will move to the Transportation Committee report, and Commissioner Brassad.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our committee met on August 2nd. We had no public comment, but we do have quite a few action items for the board today. The first one is that the committee recommends approval of a resolution authorizing the acquisition of right-of-way for the 2024 countywide pavement preservation program in the cities of Andover, Ramsey, and St. Francis. And we have Joe to explain what's going on with this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Joe McPherson. I'm the Transportation Division Manager and County Engineer. And so this action item before you really relates to our countywide overlay program. Each year when we go through and we look at the pavement preservation needs on our roadway system, we also take a look at the opportunity to add right turn lanes or even left turn lanes when it's appropriate and warranted. So this action item relates to that for the 2024 program. As our team starts to evaluate that, figure out where these locations are, in many instances, we need to purchase additional right-of-way. And so we're just looking for authority to take action on that. We're hopeful that we can reach an agreed-upon settlement outside of the eminent domain process. But in the instance where we need that, that's what this action item is for.
Okay. I will offer this resolution. Is there discussion? Seeing none. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Jepson, Aye. Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Item 2.
Okay, now item 2 and item 3, we will take separately, but they're about the same project. So item 2 is the committee recommends approval of a resolution authorizing the preparation of a highway right-of-way plat for the replacement of the bridge on CASA 28, which is Ambassador Boulevard in the city of St. Francis. Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So this item relates to a bridge that was damaged due to a vehicle crash. Fortunately, no one was injured in the crash, but there was some damage sustained to the bridge where it's actually resulting in the recommendation to replace this bridge. It's a timber bridge. So with that, we'd like to prepare a right-of-way plat to determine the amount of right-of-way that we need to purchase. And then, as Commissioner Brassad had mentioned, the subsequent item after this one is authorization to acquire the right-of-way once we determine what that is.
Okay. This is in District 1. I'll offer that resolution as well. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Schulte.
Mr. Chair, Joe, now I remember when this happened. It was a pickup truck with a bobcat on a trailer kind of thing. And I know we know who it was and we've contacted them. Is their insurance company contributing to this project?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Commissioner. So our risk management team worked with their insurance company, and there was a settlement reached on this. It was in the tune of $140,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. So that is going to help participate in the cost of replacement of this bridge.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Meisner.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, that covered most of my questions. Situation happens like this, that is obviously not part of your plan. And then I'm sorry, I don't think I see a total price then. I'm just curious, what is the total cost going to be then to replace the bridge?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Commissioner. So as it sits right now, we're thinking it's somewhere around $2 million. Again, we're proposing to replace this timber structure with a twin set or a dual line of precast concrete box culverts. They're expensive right now, like we've talked about at previous board meetings, but the nice thing is their life expectancy is over 100 years.
Right.
And there's very minimal maintenance.
Right.
So it's perfect for this type of situation. So
Okay.
right now it's about $2 million.
Thank you.
Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That resolution passes unanimously. Item 3.
Okay, so item 3 is the resolution for the acquisition of the right-of-way for that project.
Okay, I will offer that resolution. Is there any discussion on this one? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Item 4.
Item 4 and 5 are very similar. As far as item 4 is the committee recommends approval of a resolution authorizing the preparation of a highway right-of-way. This is for the improvements at the intersection of CASA 6, which is Mississippi Street, and CASA 35, which is Central, in the city of Fridley. Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Chair, members of the board. So this intersection was actually flagged as we go through the county system each year, and we look at the number of crashes at our intersections and also evaluate intersections or projects that might be eligible for the different funding mechanisms that are available. And one of those funding mechanisms that we frequently use is the Highway Safety Improvement Program. Many times you hear the acronym HSIP. That's what that program is. We were successful a year ago to receive funding through that. And so what we're proposing at this intersection is a compact roundabout. So with that, we're going to need to acquire some right-of-way from each of the 4 quadrants. The nice thing with the more compact roundabout, it won't take as much right-of-way as a typical size roundabout. These are slower speed roadways. It fits the context of the area. And so that's the need for the additional right-of-way here.
Is there an offer of the resolution?
I will offer the resolution.
Resolution's been offered by Commissioner Meisner. Is there discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Item 6.
How about item 5?
Did I miss?
You missed
Whoop,
item
my
5.
apologies. Item 5.
It's hard when they're so similar and it's the same project. So same project, but the committee recommends approval of the resolution authorizing the acquisition of any right-of-way that's necessary for the project at Mississippi and Central.
Is there an offer of resolution for item 5?
I'd like to offer the resolution.
The resolution's been offered by Commissioner Meisner. Any discussion on this one?
Mr. Chair.
Yes,
I
Commissioner
think-
Jepson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to comment that this is not Highway 65 Central Avenue. This is the old quote-unquote Central Avenue. So just to clarify publicly that that's the intersection we're talking about.
Okay, thank you. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Item 6.
The committee recommends approval of a resolution authorizing the county engineer to purchase the property located in the northeast quadrant of CASA 8, which is Osborne Road, and Monroe Street, and this is in the city of Spring Lake Park. Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Chair, members of the board. So the parcel that you see on the screen here that's circled, it's owned by a private party. And recently we were reached out to by the owner of that parcel with an interest to sell. They don't have a use for it. There's a number of utilities that exist in that area and proximity, so they had no further use for it. So a lot of times we take advantage of that situation when a property owner that lives abutting to our county road is willing to sell property to us. We at least entertain that option, we look into it, we see if it's a valuable asset for us to acquire, and then we'll reach an arm's length agreement with them. We'll reach a negotiated settlement. We have done that. There was a previous action item that came before the board to authorize myself and my team to negotiate with them to reach a settlement price. We've done that. It's a fair market price, so this is just crossing all the Ts and dotting all the Is.
Okay, is there an offer of the resolution?
I'll offer the resolution.
Resolution's been offered by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Item 7.
The committee recommends approval to enter into a joint powers agreement with the city of Coon Rapids for intersection improvements on CASA 1, Coon Rapids Boulevard at Xavier Street in the city of Coon Rapids. Joe?
Thank you, Commissioner. So this item here relates to a signal replacement project that we're going to complete along Coon Rapids Boulevard. It's reached its useful life and it's time to replace that signal. With that, we're actually going to add APS, which is Accessible Pedestrian Signal Systems. That's the ones where when you're walking along a county road and you come up to a signalized intersection, you'll hear it beep or it talks back to you. It says, don't walk, now it's safe to walk. Those types of devices are added in. It helps with ADA accessibility and those types of features. So those will be incorporated into this project. The joint powers agreement here with the city of Coon Rapids really just spells out each agency's cost responsibilities and long-term maintenance responsibilities.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Moved by Commissioner Schulte. Second by Commissioner Gamache. Discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Item 8.
The committee recommends approval to enter into a joint powers agreement with the city of Coon Rapids for intersection improvements on CASA 1, which is Coon Rapids Boulevard, this time at Mississippi Boulevard. Joe, do you want to tell us about this one?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner, Mr. Chair, and members of the board. So you guys heard about this project at our last board meeting. We approved the construction contract, relatively expensive project. It's located right next to the Anoka Ramsey Community College, which you can see the parking lot in the lower left-hand corner there. Similarly to the previous item, this signal system is going to be replaced, but one difference here is there's going to be geometric improvements at this intersection. So the southern leg, which is Mississippi Boulevard, we're going to add an additional lane there to help with the left, through, and right designations. And then even on the north side, we're going to help modify that leg so that there's a little bit more delineation between the lanes there It just helps with traffic operations and safety. And then the signal system will be replaced. And as you can see in the image here, you can see the nice brand new darker bituminous pavement to the west and also to the east. This project will also include a mill and overlay of that section coordinated with this project. So a lot more involved. Similarly though, this joint powers agreement is a cost and maintenance responsibility agreement between the city and the county.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Schulte. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gamache. Commissioner Schulte.
Joe, does this intersection also receive that APS pedestrian signal speaking option?
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Yep, Commissioner. It
And a
does.
follow-up question, if there's residences really nearby these intersections, do we still install that? Do we consult with them? I ask because I run a business very close to a semaphore, and just the beeping noise of people pushing that button drives me crazy in the shop. And my technician's crazy, because our doors are open most of the summer. And would you, like at Hanson, would you install one without consulting nearby businesses or residents, or is it just certain areas where they're just automatic?
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, Commissioner, that's a fair question, and that is something that does come up from time to time, especially in more densely packed urban areas, whether you got a commercial, like you said, you've got a business right next door, you've got residences. Sometimes those can be rather loud and ear piercing. So the fortunate part is you can adjust the volume on those. So to answer that question, we can adjust the volume so it's not so loud, but due to ADA requirements, if it's required, we do have to put them in. But there have been agencies that have gone back, and if there was enough public outcry, they will turn them off. But realistically, we do need to have them in for the ADA compliance. So we could put something fun on there, like some music, or, you know, if you look particularly into some type of music, but.
As a follow-up, thank you for that, and I do appreciate the necessity. People that are either visually impaired or hard of hearing, even having that little extra, it's safe to pass, it's not safe to pass, is important, and I get that. So I don't mean to suggest that my comfort level with the noise is more important. It was more of a curiosity as
Yeah,
to when we do and when we don't.
Joe, do we have any ability to raise the volume on his by chance?
yeah, Mr. Chair, maybe we can add Ready, Set, Go or something like that.
For jazz.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mr. Chair.
yes, Commissioner Meisner.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for bringing that up. That's an interesting conversation that just had, and I appreciate you at the end saying, right, like, obviously it's not about any particular business. It is about serving the needs of people that have, visual or hearing impaired and making sure that there's safety involved. But now I'm kind of curious because, like, I guess I didn't realize that even public outcry could change something like that. I thought it was the law, right? But you're saying that there is some wiggle room around that.
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, Commissioner, so when you put in a device like that, like I mentioned, sometimes it can be obnoxious. The sound can be very loud. You can be sitting in a restaurant, and you can actually hear it through the windows. I've experienced that in Minneapolis and St. Paul before, especially due to the proximity of the businesses.
Sure.
So a lot of times what they'll do is the technicians that work on the signals, they'll try and adjust the sound so that it works for the individuals that need it. And it's amazing how astute, like if someone's visually impaired and they rely on sound, it's amazing how accurate their sound perception is and how they can really determine what direction it's coming from.
Right.
Because sometimes if you have a busy intersection, you need to actually say what street it is, like safe to cross 3rd Street
Yeah.
or something like that. But in a lot of cases, individuals we've talked to and others have talked to, they can actually tell what direction the sound is coming from,
Right.
which is amazing to me. But what I meant by the public outcry and stuff like that is if you don't have a population that needs that, a lot of times there's an overarching desire to turn them off. And sometimes that happens, but as I mentioned earlier, ADA requirements do
Right.
require them being in there, but you can go through a formal analysis and determine, is there a population that needs them? What is the right,
Okay. No. And again, I just
situation, yeah.
find this interesting. So thank you
Yeah.
very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item 8? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye. And that passes unanimously. Item 9.
The committee recommends approval to enter into a license agreement with HSR MSP LLC in the city of Ramsey to allow a portion of an existing garage to remain in the county right-of-way. This is an interesting one, Joe.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Chair, members of the board. So, in our daily work, a lot of people think it's snow plowing, it's cleaning streets. Sometimes it has to do with dogs barking in the neighbor's house, or it has to do with someone's got their truck parked on my property. Is the highway department gonna do something about that? So we get one-off calls all the time. This situation here actually goes back to the early 1990s. So when this corridor was being reconstructed, there was a request to acquire additional right-of-way. And as you can see in the image here, the subject parcel, that right-of-way line that abuts Bunker Lake Boulevard on the north side, it follows the curve, but not completely perfectly. It widens out as you continue east. And if you look really close to the driveway, you can tell that that existing garage, which has been there for a number of years, actually encroaches the right-of-way. Well, at that time, there was an agreement between the county engineer and the developer, not the developer, the owner at the time, that they were okay with the right-of-way, but they wanted to leave their garage there. They didn't want to take it down. So that agreement was made. Due to a recent request, a lot of times it comes up when a house is sold. A lot of these things come out of the woodwork when people are selling homes or buying homes. That's what happened here. As they were preparing the closing documents and the title work, they noticed that this was inside the county right-of-way. So they called us, we looked back at it. Essentially what happened was there was an agreement back in the early 90s that it could stay, and there should be a license agreement or some instrument put into place to acknowledge that. One, that would protect the homeowner, that it's allowed to be there, and two, it would protect the county that if in the future the county needed to use that right-of-way, then there would have to be an agreement on who's gonna pay for what. Likely the landowner is gonna have to pay to knock that down or move it, or it might be a joint effort. So that's what this item is. We're just cleaning up some old history here, 30 years in the making. Essentially what we're gonna do is we're gonna prepare a license agreement that's before you. It allows that garage to stay there in its current location. If we need it in the future, that's all written into the license agreement about who's responsible, who's gonna pay for that, and how it gets moved, so.
Okay, I will move it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion. Seeing none. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Item 10.
Okay, we have another license agreement in front of us. This is the committee recommends approval to enter into a license agreement with Carl and Kyle Parker in the city of Ham Lake to allow a portion of a recently installed septic system drain field to remain in the county right-of-way. Joe, similar but different.
Yeah, exactly. So, Mr. Chair, members of the board, again, very similar. As you can tell, when you look at the right-of-way lines there, they're somewhat unique. They're not what a typical person would expect to see at an intersection like that. You would assume that the right-of-way line would follow the curve of the county road, and that's what it would be. The individual, when they replaced their septic system, followed all the rules. They went out and got a permit from the city to put it in. There was just a misinterpretation of where the right-of-way was at that time. And so what ended up happening is along their south property line where they put their new drain field in, it encroaches that county right-of-way. Now at this time and for the foreseeable future, we have no need for that right-of-way, but we do want to protect our interests in the case that at some point in the future we need to redo the intersection, we run into a safety situation. We want to make sure that we preserve that for the public use. But at the same time, we want to be fair to the landowner. Those are expensive systems. We don't want to make them pay another $20,000, $30,000 to move that again. So again, similar to the previous item, this license agreement says that it's allowed to stay there. But if we need that right away in the future, it'll be their responsibility to move that drain field.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Brassad. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion. Just a quick question for you, Joe. So in the event it needs to be replaced, is there then language in here that says that it needs to be outside of the right-of-way at that point, or I'm assuming that must be covered?
Correct. Yeah, Mr. Chair, that's correct.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye,
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
and that passes unanimously.
And that concludes my Transportation Committee report.
Thank you, Commissioner Brasted. We'll move on to the Parks Committee and Commissioner Gamache.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Parks Committee met on Tuesday, August 1st at Rum River Central Regional Park. It was a beautiful day to be outdoors, and we got a nice tour of the park. We have 2 action items today. The committee recommended to the county board to authorize an operations and maintenance grant from the Metropolitan Council, contract number C00101150.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Meisner. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion. Anyone want a description of it?
Andy is here.
Give us a executive description of this quickly, if you would.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Andy Solta, I'm the Assistant Director for the Parks Department. This is more of a housekeeping item. Typically, we approve these operations and maintenance grants every other year. It's money that's allocated to the department from Met Council based off visitation, acreage, and use formulas to offset our cost for the regional operations of the park system.
And was there
Approximately about $224,000 a year.
was there an increase from prior years or about the same?
It is about the same currently. Each legislative session, we do go and talk to our legislators about moving that number, but
Right.
is a similar amount this year.
Okay, all righty. There was a motion, a second. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
And that motion passes unanimously. Item 2.
Item number 2, the committee recommended to the county board to approve Metropolitan Council funding agreements for Parks and Trails Legacy Funds. We have $1,837,454 for Bunker Hills Regional Park improvements. This includes the general road, trail, pavilion, playground, and other park improvements. That's contract number C00101188. Item B is $450,000 for the Mississippi River Regional Trail improvements through Rivenwick Development near Mississippi West Regional Park. That's contract C00101189. $75,000 for the regional system-wide natural resource management. That's contract C00101190. Then the regional parks capital improvement funds. This is bonding. $2 million for the Coon Rapids Dam Regional Park. That's the pedestrian bridge replacement and trail improvements along between the Mississippi River and Coon Creek, where we had the bridge that was beginning to pull down or pull apart from the banks, and we had to remove it, and now we're replacing it. That's contract C00101192. Item E for $707,707 for Rice Creek West Regional Trail. That's Monoman Park improvements. Banfield Lock House reconstruction. That's county contract C00101193. We've been looking to fix up the Banfield Lock house. We've got issues with the level, the base of the house, the actual foundation, yes, and the roof. So this is money that we were able to get through this regional trail and park improvements, basically because we are now calling this facility a regional trailhead. That allowed us to get some money through this funding. And then modernization funds, we have $1,466,267 for Bunker Hills Regional Park Pavilion replacement. As you remember last spring, it's just this spring we were talking about it, where we were having problems with, I think it was 2 or 3. I think it was 3, Andy.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, pavilions 1 and 3 at most.
1 and 3, that's right. And we had to tear them down, take them down for safety reasons, and now we have the money to, with this modernization funds from the Med Council, we have the money now to replace them. The plan will be for next spring, I believe. Okay. So these are the different things that came through the, partially through the legislative session, but that made funding available from the Med Council.
Okay, we're going to take these individually on a roll call vote. So if you see a project here that's in your respective district, if you want to move that, that'd be great. We'll start off with item A, which is contract C0010188. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gamache. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Schulte. Discussion. Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Item B, which is contract C0010189 for the Mississippi River Regional Trail Improvements. That's District 1. I'll go ahead and move that. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Moving on to C, it's the Regional System-Wide Natural Resource Management, contract number C0010190. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Brassad.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gamache. Discussion. Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Item D, which is the Coon Rapids Dam Regional Park Pedestrian Bridge Replacement and Trail Improvements, contract C0010192. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Schulte.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gamache. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye, and that passes unanimously. Moving on to E, which is the Rice Creek West Regional Trail Park Improvements, contract C0010193. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Meisner.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Meisner.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So Commissioner Gamache was talking about the roof and the foundation, but I believe that this is just one of many things that this particular building is going to need. So I did want to just make mention of that. And then obviously there's a plan for further funding around that, but the entire structure needs a lot of work. And so this is just essentially step one. Thank you.
Okay. Further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. And then moving on to the final item, which is the Bunker Hills Regional Park Pavilion Replacement, contract C0010194. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gamache.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Schulte. Discussion. Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously.
And for informational items today, Mr. Chair, we have an award that was awarded to us from the Minnesota Recreation and Parks Association Award of Excellence for the Anoka County Parks Brand Style Guide. And if you have not seen that, you should take a look. It was so well done. They don't want us award. So Andy has some special guests with us today to talk about the award, and we'll be able to congratulate them. Andy.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, yeah, we were really happy to have the opportunity to nominate the Brand Style Guide project for the Minnesota Recreation and Parks Association Award of Excellence. That's a statewide program that's done through our state association. They receive applications in several categories throughout the state. We were very fortunate to be selected as one of those projects due to the hard work of our communications team. I have Nicole Greenwell here and Cassandra Bauer. They're the brains and great talent behind our communications department within the Parks Department. So they've worked really hard in putting together this brand styled guide on behalf of the Parks Department so that whenever a communication material, whether it's social media, a flyer, a sign, something that's going to be public facing, that the public realizes and sees that that's Anoka County and Anoka County Park specifically. And it takes a lot of work on their side of it to make it look very easy and make it look very clean and professional for not only the public, but for our staff to help deliver those materials efficiently. So They've worked very hard on this project. It was great to have the recognition statewide. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get calls from other agencies looking to say, hey, how can we tap into doing some of that in our units too? And that's one of the great aspects of this awards program too, is it helps elevate the recreation and parks profession throughout the state. So I'd just like to acknowledge Nicole and Cassandra. If they would like to say anything, they're more than welcome to for the award.
And they brought the award as well.
They did.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. I'll be very brief, but I just wanted to recognize and thank you all for taking some time this morning to recognize this award for the Parks Department. It has been a work in progress for quite a while, so we were very, very pleased to receive this award. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Other comments? Yep, Commissioner Jepson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I just wanted to commend you all for the hard work that you do being on this board for the short amount of time that I've been on it. Your professionalism, your work with the community, the park system is incredibly impressive. You have a robust program that is clearly seen by most. What was really interesting, Mr. Chair and Commissioner Brass said when we were at the Senior Expo, pretty much everyone who was there commented on how much they love the Parks Department, and we were giving away parks information nonstop to people. So that you're now publicly recognized, congratulations.
Commissioner Meisner?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. And then I want, correct me if I'm wrong, Nicole, but I want to say when you said work in progress, because, we had the advantage of having more in-depth information about this award, but it was like 8 years in the making. So it was not just like this one thing that you made over time to be consistent and again, throughout 8 years. So I just wanted to point that out because this is a very long time coming and significant work. So thank you.
Yes, that is.
Further discussion? Well, congratulations, Nicole and Cassandra, for achieving the statewide recognition. I mean, outstanding work. So thank you very much for your hard work on that. All right.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Gmash. We would normally move on to item 9, which is a public hearing concerning the public use of cannabis on county-owned properties. There was unfortunately a deficiency of notice, and so what we need to do at this point is entertain a motion to postpone until the next regularly scheduled meeting.
I'll make that motion to postpone.
Motion to postpone by Commissioner Gamache. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Meisner. This is non-debatable. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Commissioner Meisner?
No, I'm not opposed to it. I did have a question.
Go ahead. One question, yep.
Yeah, so you're saying that we are going to bring this back up for our next board meeting.
Yes.
Is there an opportunity to discuss this as a board, like in a work session or something?
There's certainly an opportunity to discuss everything in work sessions. But as it relates to time frame, I'm not sure that we can fit a work session in before this. We can bring it to a work session if there's any change in policy in that work session, or we can bring this back then to the board for modification at that point. Rhonda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This was discussed at the IG committee meeting, so that would be the correct venue for this to be discussed. Our workshops that are scheduled in the coming weeks are budget, and budget. So there really is not ample time to add this to the agenda. So if you were looking to make modifications, that would really need to take place at the IG committee meeting. However, we also do have a requirement of a 10-day public notice. So in order to meet that requirement for it to come to the next board meeting, we need to look to get this published now.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just a point of clarification. What the board is moving is a postponement to a date certain of the next meeting. Do I understand that right?
Correct.
Not an indefinite postponement.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and that did pass with no one in opposition. So we will move on then to item 10, which is consider approving contract C0010217 employment agreement with Kate Heffernan Carson and appointing Kate as a Deputy Director of Human Services effective September 5th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Reinert,
Second.
second by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion. Seeing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, yes, Chair of Human Services, just to note this addition here. As a lot know that the Human Services Division is the largest work area for Anoka County, accounting for over 1,000 employees and half the work that we do. And with the growth that we've had and experienced recently, there are growing pains, and the growing pains right now are at the top. And so this addition of Kate coming on and becoming the deputy director is going to give a lot of relief at the top, and I think end up with a better running department. So just wanted to note that.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Reinert. Any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Okay. That concludes the items today for the county board meeting. If there's nothing else to come before us, we will stand adjourned.